Hi everyone. Today I want to show you how I put together homemade candles using beeswax strips or sheets. I make tapers and I also like to make the votives. So depending on what you like to do, these sheets you can order from Amazon, or you can go to maybe your local bee or honey supply store and you can pick up some of their beeswax sheets. So I just want to let you know that do not order the sheets that have wire. You want the wireless ones. Anyway, to get started here, these sheets come in 16.5 by 7.5 inches, and I can usually get 4 votives, the 2-inch votives, out of using these sheets. And what I do is cut 2-inch strips all the way across, and I would roll them with the wick. So what you'll need today is your beeswax sheet, and of course your wicks, and these wicks come with a piece of metal on the bottom, and you'll need a dryer, or if you have a heat gun, that comes in handy. Usually a ruler, one that can go all the way across, or even if you wanted to use a T-square. This one's a little large, but anyway, they come in handy for making sure that they're the right size and to create a straight line as I'm cutting. The other thing I like to use is a pizza cutter, or they just come in handy because it's a roller. You can use a knife, or if you choose, or a carpenter knife. I just find the pizza cutter just comes in handy. So let me see what else I have. So here, what I've done was I've wrapped all my finished candles in this paper, and you can find this kind of paper at the craft store, and it's decorative. It's kind of like paper and tape on the other side. Or you could just use your own wrapping paper, whatever paper you choose. I like to use these scissors to cut the paper. It looks a little more decorative when you finish the piece. Anyway, so let's get started. So I'm going to measure out 6 inches so I can get 2 6-inch tapers from this, and I can get 1 votive candle, 2-inch votive candle that will work with the 3-inch votive holder. So that's 1 sheet. I can get that. Or if you were to take 2-inch strips and just cut 2 inches all the way across, and you can get 8 strips out of that. 8 2-inch strips. 8 2-inch strips can make a fat votive candle. And those will work nicely and fill this votive cup. But I find that the way I'm doing it here, with using the leftover, I like to get the 2 capers and the 1 votive. So that's what we'll do today. I am looking for, so I'm going to measure 2 inches. Actually, I'm going to measure 6. So there's 6 inches right there. Never hurts to double check your measurement. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 6-inch pieces. So I find it easier to cut all my pieces first. So what I'll do is I measure there for me is 6. Oh. Would help if I don't move this around. Do another 6 inches. And then I have like 4 inches left, so I'll divide that in 2 and get 2 2-inch pieces. Okay. So I'll cut my first 6-inch piece. I'll have my lines. Probably have too many of them because I've done some previous pieces. Okay, I'm going to follow that line right there. So I'll take my square. I like to line it up with the top here. Okay, slide down. Make sure that it's even. Okay, now I'll use my heat gun, or you can use your dryer, and depending on where you're at, you want to make sure that your sheet does not crack as you're cutting. So I'll just heat it up slightly, not too much, because you don't want to melt it. You just want to make it to where if you roll over it or cut it, it won't just break on you in random places. It's kind of hard to fix broken pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and use my pizza wheel, my cutter here, and I'm going to go along the edge. So I'll get a better grip on that. Okay, and just go ahead and cut my first piece. Okay. Just go up slightly to finish off. Sometimes I can't get all the way to the end without moving that. Okay, so I have my first piece cut. There's my first 6-inch, but be very careful how you take it apart. Make sure it's cut all the way through. Make sure you don't move your sheet so you're not having to redo your lines again. So I'm going to take the next 6 inches. So I'm going to follow that line right there. Helps to mark all your lines first. Okay. So there we go again. I'm going to take the heat gun and then I'm just going to warm it up slightly. Okay. I don't know, depending on where you're at. If you have a cold room, your sheet will probably end up breaking in random places if you don't soften the wax first. So I'm going to slide up a little bit more. Finish cutting. Okay. So there's my other 6-inch. Be careful when you take it apart that you don't crack it. Okay. And then you have 4 inches left. Well, about, if I did this right. Then you're just going to take and cut it in half. So I'm going with 2 inches with the leftovers. Okay, 2 inches. I'm going to mark again because I moved my sheet. Okay, so let's see. Okay, take your heat gun again and soften that up. Okay, and this is for your votive strips. The last 2 pieces. So you go along your edge here of this ruler, and it's a guide to keep your cut straight. So hopefully I got all the way to the end. If not, you can slide it up, and don't go over the entire thing. Just finish off that edge there so you get it cut. Oops. Okay, so I got my 2 strips for the votive. We'll do the votive last. Right now, I'll show you how I make my 6-inch tapered candles, okay? So I'm going to grab my wick. I'm going to move these out of the way. Okay, so I'm being very careful when you handle your sheet that you don't press it too hard to where it'll break on you, so you have to be very careful. Okay, I think every little piece of dirt might show up on there. So I take my wick with the metal piece to one edge, okay, and I'm going to line it up. Let's see if I can adjust the camera here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the wick. I'm going to line it up with the very end, like maybe 1/8 of an inch from the very end. I'm going to take that wick and I'm going to line up the metal piece on this bottom edge. Then I'm going to press press the sheet up against the wick, and I'm going to keep pressing and applying pressure as if I'm wanting to roll this, but pressing it first into place will be the start. So you want to use even pressure when you're attaching this. So all the way down, you want to make sure you have the right pressure. Double check the very edge of your metal piece. And then what I usually do is make sure, see here, so there's a little crack that's forming. That's what can happen if you start to roll and your room is a little cold. So I'll just take that and press it after I've softened the wax. Now I'm going to start to gently roll this with the wick in place, but also making sure that I'm giving enough pressure to where it's not being rolled loosely. You want to make sure that it's rolled firmly, but being very careful not to crack or break your wax sheet. So just keep softening the wax, not too much, just enough to make it to where it's workable. This will keep your wax from cracking. So line up your edges as you're rolling and giving it even amount of pressure. Okay? And check the bottom edge to the top edge and roll gently and firmly to make sure that it's coming in contact with the bottom part of your roll. So soften as you go and roll. And watch my edge here because I see it starting to roll at a different angle. Okay, even, keeping it even, pressure. Watch your edges, the top edge to the bottom edge, making sure as you roll, you're lining up as close as you can. And then as we're getting towards the end here, make sure you soften it a little bit, not too much. And continue to roll. Okay. Applying the pressure. Okay, we're coming towards the end here. One more. As we're going towards the end. Okay, there we go. Now, what I do with the seam is I'll go over this seam slightly to soften and roll, and then press gently along the edge, so making sure that it doesn't come undone. Okay, and then there you go. So there's the bottom part. So I might have a little bit of wax on the edge here that I didn't line it up right. So what I just do with that, I don't worry too much, but what I will do is just roll this bottom edge like this with my finger on top and roll gently all the way around so you get that even roll, not too hard. Okay, and then as it's curving around is what I want to do. Okay, and that's all I do. And then I have my tapered candle. So if this metal piece is a little loose, you can always give it a little tug to make sure that it's not too low. But anyway, there's my finished tapered candle. I'll take this one out. See? Here we go. Now, I can work on. So that's how you do the 6-inch. Now, what I'll show you, I can show you how I do the tapered, or I'm sorry, the 2-inch votive. So I just take this, so I measure, since this is a bit long, I'm going to cut it however much I need, and I usually like to come maybe a 1/2 inch up off the edge and then cut. Cut the wick, maybe give it a little extra, okay? So this part, don't throw that away because you can use it for another votive, but you will want to put aluminum foil on the bottom part because you won't have this metal piece, and you want to make sure that when you burn the candle and it goes all the way down to the end of the wick, that there's something that'll help put the fire out instead of keep burning. So that's why you want to put the aluminum foil. So we will go ahead and start with our votive. So I'm going to warm up this strip just a little bit. And same process as the taper. I take the edge of the metal, line it up with the bottom or the other side, the other edge. And then I'm going to press the wick and roll and check your bottom too. Make sure that it's wrapping around the very bottom of the wick. So even pressure. You can start rolling, so watch your edges and make sure that you're rolling straight. It's easy to get it to where it's not rolling straight. Now watch how you could start cracking as you roll. See this? Let me show you. See this, how it's cracking here? So you want to, that's an indication that you want to melt it just a little bit, and then you can pinch it slightly together, but not too hard, okay? And it will join back together. It's almost like a sticky gum, feels like. Okay. And then I'm rolling again, making sure I'm going to keep an eye on my edges here. Okay. Same amount of pressure all the way. Okay. Roll. Okay. I'm watching the edges. So where I'm at right now, I have probably an inch from the end of this strip. So I like to try to join this other strip. And how I do this is go ahead and heat that, and then heat the second strip. Okay. And then I'm going to come down about maybe a quarter of an inch, and then I'm going to align it, and then I'm going to press, and then I'm going to continue rolling where I left off. Same amount of pressure. Watching your edges. Okay, so here's the seam. This is the seam from that other strip. I'll come back over and I'll heat that up slightly, and I'll continue to just press, make sure that joins. Okay, and then don't get any hair or anything rolled up in there, because, oh my Lord, that's what happens when you drop. Okay, so now I'm going to continue rolling. Okay, oops. So try not to go back and straighten it up once you have it rolled. Just let it go and do its thing. Sometimes if you unravel it too much, it might just break. So just carry on, heating that up. And watch your edges. Even though you've gone off like I have, or maybe you haven't, but I have. But I'm going to continue rolling and see this. So there's like a quarter of an inch lip. I'm going to go ahead and seal that up by finish the roll. Okay. And then there's the seam. And just go over it slightly and press, roll. Okay, so there's quite a bit of a gap where I didn't roll straight, but here's what I would just do with that. So rather than starting all over again, I'll just make sure that my wax, not melted all the way, but softened. And roll. So I have it at a slight angle. So this side is up a little bit, and I'm just rolling the bottom edge along here. And then I'm going to put my finger over the top and kind of help guide it towards, rolling it towards that metal piece, kind of like where it's going to wrap itself. So see how I'm doing that? Just light pressure, not too much. And then just continue to roll. Okay. And then you can pretty much press it down. And there we go. That's my votive. It's my 2-inch votive. Okay. Goes in a 3-inch votive holder. So I'll trim this off just a little bit. You don't want too much wick hanging off the top of it. Okay. So that was my votive candle. Now, so what you do with this, if you're going to make another votive, you can do the same thing, but remember what I said about the aluminum foil. So you want to make sure that you wrap a little piece of foil on the very bottom of this wick. Okay. And that's what you would put on the bottom of, that would act as your metal piece, like this, but you'll have this. And you'll do the same thing. You put it on the very bottom, and you'll start rolling. So here is my last 6-inch votive, tapered candle that we're going to make. So I'm looking for another wick. Thought I had everything out, but just grab another one from the box. Anyway, here's another wick. Okay, I got the metal piece right here. So I'm going to take this metal piece. Let's see if I can show you from this side. Okay, I'm just switching sides on you so you could see it better. So I'm just going to angle this to the edge of this sheet. Okay, and I usually take about 1/8 of an inch and just press the wick on the sheet. Make sure you soften your sheet before you start rolling and pressing to prevent cracking. Okay, so I'm just taking and gathering the edge and pressing with the wick I just put in there. So I'm using the same amount of pressure and being very careful not to tear the wax sheet. So I am carefully rolling and wrapping this wick and using the same amount of pressure all the way across. So I see that as I'm rolling, trying to, I think it wants to start cracking. So I'm just going to put that right there. See how it's splitting? This is splitting a little bit on the top, so I just pressed it together. The wax was still soft enough. we go. Watching my edges carefully as I roll gently. I'm not worried about this piece yet. The main thing is just making sure that you're consistent with the roll, but you want to make sure that it's not too far down. Okay, we can always straighten that up. So here I go again. I'm going to soften my wax. Watching my edges and continue my roll. Watching both edges, seeing where I'm going. Okay. Same amount of pressure to press down. You want to make good contact. Excuse me. Okay. And just continue to roll. Oh my. See the seam? Here we go. See this metal piece? Excuse me. This metal piece is down a lot further. So I'll take the end of my wick, the top part of my wick, pull gently. Okay, and there you go. That pulls up. There we go. So that's my other tapered candle. So here we have it. We've got our 2 tapered candles along with our 2-inch votive. 6-inch votive candle and the 6-inch tapered candle, 2-inch votive. Okay. Aren't those cute? So here, there you go. There you have it. Now I can show you how to wrap this. What I did here is, if you wanted to do the 3, or this is what I got off of one sheet. You won't have enough with one sheet to do 3 tapers. So you'll have to bring out another sheet if you want to do that. So you can cut your paper and whatever decoration you want to use. Measure it. I obviously didn't do a good job with that part, so hold on. Bear with me. So I'm just going to go with this. That looks good. Take my take some tape. Well, it's not the best wrap job, but anyway, I think you could give a gift that way. Oops. It's not the best wrap job. Oh my goodness. Go figure. So, but anyway, you could do it like that, or you can just wrap the two just by itself. Okay. The same size. Okay, we'll need to edit that for sure. Maybe. So, or what you could do, you can give the votive like this. And you can go ahead and do a little, I'm sure everybody has their own way of wrapping things. I don't always have everything planned out perfectly. So I could take the two tapered candles and you can give a gift and wrap a little bow right there. So there you have it. Or, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, I know it's a little long, but if you like this video and if you've gathered some tips, this is just how I do it. I'm sure there are easier ways or other ways that most of you have it, but this will give you a general idea of what to do with those sheets of beeswax and making your own candles. Great for gift giving. If you enjoy candles, this is a fun thing to do. Thank you again for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Thank you.